Let's begin now with something a little cheesy and corny, or in other words, meaningful. Let's talk about children and our inner child. We are the reality figures. Our parents are children. Enjoy their presence when they're little and teach them to enjoy the natural things. Take them into nature and allow them to teach you how to play again, like you've forgotten how. Their spontaneous behavior resembles aspects of your own instincts, so allow them to parent you and teach you who you are. Teach them formal manners and then teach them that they're fake. Show them what real appreciation truly means and is, and don't allow them to feel like any formal physical motion can be used as an excuse in exchange of real love meditation or real appreciation. I love that quote. I made it several years ago while being inspired to be a father someday. Well, we learn from the negative to enjoy the positive. So, let's start at square one of this hopscotch. Truth being a mixture of evolutionism and creationism, and therefore life being a biological, vibrational, and geometrical semantic of ancient technology. Let's begin now. When Earth got to the point where there was ocean tides, beaches, and thunderstorms, a lightning strike of what I call teacher energy, which is where there is not too much nor too little energy, struck where the ocean tide met the beach. Elements and compounds began to magnetically and geometrically work with each other to create some of the first single-celled organisms. After the first single-celled organisms combobulated, while evolving and becoming more than multi-celled, they needed something to know what to do with or manage and experience their new massive external realities. So they evolved the brain antenna around the environment of the conscious frequency, so to speak. Or at least, this is how things look physically or evolutionarily. And we would think that the creationism aspect is that this is what the conscious frequency designed to have happen in the first place. If that's the case, then our emotions are just as real, if not more real, than what we consider this physicality. And one of the most real things we can perceive is the geometry or algebra of emotion, or energetic motion. That's of ourselves, our inner child, and our personal children, through motherliness, fatherliness, or self-reflection, which begins with thinking in terms of discussions and activities, definitely enthusiastically. Let's begin again. The emotional subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's happening now, a daydream, and a memory. That's from the book The Holographic Universe. So we are every age we've ever been, all at the same time, subconsciously speaking. So I would not only be 0, but I would be 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and every number it takes to get to my current Earth years of age, all at the same time. This would be called the subconscious ages. Love meditation and playful activity can be natural for consciousness. We can tell because even baby tigers play. So if the 7, 9, or 11-year-old self get deprived of the natural love meditation and playful activity that he or she needs, it can affect every age after that. This is how aspects of post-traumatic stress are always happening or surfacing within our subconscious or conscious minds until they are healed. How we identify our trauma matters. There's patience over fixation, and there is authenticity over cult of personality. Self-reflection begins with admitting when we are unaware, definitely when we are upset, and that there is always more to learn, as well as admitting where we are hurt. We subconsciously share self-love with one another, and it hurts to love someone who doesn't love themselves. So it's not cool to not care. This makes a subconscious expectation of fairness because love is natural. And if we aren't in our game, and remember this, it becomes one of our first traumas that we have to heal the most by admitting where we are hurt. Our inner little girl or our inner little guy was hurt from loving someone who didn't have self-love. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to weep with love, remorse, enthusiasm, or torment. It's time that we no longer inherit the traumas from our parents ever since the dark times. It's time to make that generational change and show people that we can weep and heal wherever we need to a loved one or a loving community figure. It's to not suppress by the millisecond, and to overcome the conditioned view of reality, as well as certain conditioned views of relationships, no matter where you are publicly. I'm a male ballerina philosophist. I believe that most traumas can be healed in relationships authentically. Let me explain the beginning of male ballerina philosophy. We subconsciously share self-love with one another, and it hurts to love someone who doesn't love themselves. So if she loves me, I promise to learn to love myself because I love her. And I don't want her hurting loving me. It would be nice to replace the word she and her with the word you to somebody someday and mean it someday. Regardless, it's time. Creativity can always be used as a means of peace. This is the judgment of the righteous, and we will strike with the wrath of the righteous. Now charge into your conscious and subconscious minds and admit where you're hurt. Maybe support my book while you're at it. Though you don't have to. I'll eventually get it.
Come support my friend and his book.
Thank you, loving community figure. You're a good man. Thank you. We got the file. There we go. Remember that the beginning of a self-reflective conscious process, for sure emotional ones, is the ability to admit when we are unaware, and that there is always more to learn. Definitely when we are upset, is it important to admit to ourselves when we are unaware. Admitting this when we are upset is one of the most important things for emotional self-reflection, the aspect of the atom. We learn from the negative to enjoy the positive. Energy, taste and scent, soil curation, the plants absorbing energy, digestion, the planets, stars, solar systems, galaxies, universes, and man, the sacred geometry of our soul, the movement of the galaxies in fast motion within the innards of a cell, all a part of this biological holographic universe and the sacred emotional geometry within it. All for life and reason, I suppose. All for the love of energy and earth. We love earth. There's also barely a thing more beautiful towards soil curation and energy than surrendering anger for love. Definitely when a man does this for a woman. And we can make it possible to have a cultural change using creativity as a means of peace, where we weep with and for our inner child collectively and no longer inherit the same emotional trauma that has been passed down for generations. Certain people with a lot of emotional trauma may have to wear knee pads when following male ballerina philosophy and while being on a roll, unsuppressing their emotions during this cultural change. For we may have to drop to our knees and cry with and for our inner child wherever and whenever we have a trauma surface into our waking selves. When we are in identify our expletive deleted mode, don't suppress by the millisecond, and we will no longer fear the conditioned view of reality. We will no longer fear ourselves. We will cry with and for our inner child, publicly, wherever and whenever we have to, with love, remorse, enthusiasm, or torment. We will no longer fear not appealing to the conditioned view of reality, because we realize that it's not the public creativity nor public emotional healing that we are afraid of, but it's certain family members' conditioned views of reality that we are afraid of. And we will admit to our inner little guy or our inner little girl that it hurt to subconsciously share self-love with these people who did not have it accidentally, because that is what happened to them. Men will cry with women, with love, remorse, enthusiasm, and torment, but not like their tears are meaningless. And we will no longer leech. Our tears will be meaningful and will accomplish something. No pessimistic ether logic. Biological contact will be meaningful, not meaningless. We will weep to her every body part so that sexual healing can exist and not be worthless. And so that we can invoke and radiate our own extravagant fatherly vibe and get these sexual healings over and done with so that we may enjoy our present moment and finally be fatherly. And women will learn the power of nurturing a man's emotions. The spiritual mother figure energy will be born. The spiritual father figure energy will be born. A real woman one time told me that there was like a soreness to nurturing a man's authentic tears of remorse. This would be true with anybody, I believe. For we worship natural feminine receptivity and conscious remorse naturally. I love remorse in a woman. They're so cute. Within ballerina philosophy, there is in fact male ballerina philosophy and there is in fact female ballerina philosophy. But either gender can have either one of them. Here are examples. I wish to respond to you appropriately. You tell me about myself. When you care about me. If you get upset with me. I wish to respond perfectly. I promise to cry wherever and whenever I have an emotional trauma surface within me. With you. With love, remorse, enthusiasm, or torment. I promise to nurture your emotions wherever and whenever you have a trauma surface within yourself. I promise to drop whatever I'm doing to nurture you. Sometimes it's male and female. With you as my inspiration, there will never be a problem for us except considering all the problems on the planet. Creativity can always be used as a means of peace. Collectively and especially individual conscious efforts matter. You don't have to appeal to society's conditioned view of reality. We can heal from society's conditioned view of reality that deprionitizes, chips away at, and slowly annuls our inner child's pronity to magic. Again, pronity to magic is the inner child's ability to feel the magicalness of the universe, no magic trick. We can heal our pronity to magic no matter what happened to it. You're good enough to. You deserve to. You yourself are your own inspiration. You have self-love. Just admit where you're hurt. Cry with a new friend or an old one. Yet remain estranged to certain family members. Don't defend yourself, try. They immediately evolve and change with and for your presence in themselves, or they never will. Make new friends. Overcome cabin sickness. We can heal our pronity to magic. We can hear that expletive-deleted orchestra music in the background of your expletive-deleted movies. You tried to train us not to hear it, so we remain dormant and docile, but we hear it. We hear your expletive-deleted orchestra music and we hate it. Try to make meaningful moments without it. Expletive-deleted your expletive-deleted background music, and magic does not only exist in the movies. Meaningful moments can exist publicly, and we can cry wherever and whenever we have an emotional surfacement with love, remorse, enthusiasm, or torment. We can drop to our knees when we are getting good at this. At the supermarket or the grocery store, at the movies, or in the park. Of course, be careful and pull over while driving, but wherever and whenever we have to. Wherever and whenever we have to. We may cry with each other or for our inner child. Don't suppress by the millisecond when you're on a roll. Got another file. Sorry, I don't know how big these files become. I believe nature is metaphorical towards how to have happy, healthy, conscious processes for mankind. The trees grow towards the sun in their own unique manner, and so do we. Fire can cause smoke, anger can cloud vision. Fire doesn't have to cause smoke, and passion can warmth us. The clouds rain on us and can block the sunlight, but they come from water, and water rejuvenates us and gives us life. And we learn from the negative to enjoy the positive. I believe there's countless more examples in nature. So let's go over this one more time for the fun of it. Plus, I feel bad about not yet sharing these things. I know, I'm kind of trying to drill some information into you. I like how I've worded ballerina philosophy right here, though. It hurts to love someone who doesn't love themselves, as so many of us have learned and are still learning as we're growing. It hurts to love someone who doesn't love themselves. So if you love me, I promise... Wait, no, I've lost myself. I'm just going to read it. It hurts to love someone who doesn't love themselves. So if you love me, I love you, and therefore I shall force myself to learn to love and appreciate myself with my own emotions by admitting my scars with you, because you're loving and helping me. You're my inspiration, and I don't want to hurt you because I love you. I know how to use your appreciation as inspiration to better myself in all areas and admit where I'm hurt, because I have to know that you're not hurting loving me. If you can do the same with and for me, then we will flourish. There will never be a problem for us except considering all the problems on the planet. which are mostly our collective relationship perspectives. I know that there is always more to learn. I can admit to myself when I'm unaware and where I am hurt, as well as that there is always more to learn. And I will always act perfect if you get upset with me, because you tell me about myself. You tell me about myself, and I love you for this. And I love me. I love us. Ballerina philosophy. I could be a spiritual marriage counselor. Well, I don't feel so bad about not having some of this info out there now. Well, still have a book to finish. Much love. Yeah, I got some files. This video about the slide. It's about that cute little look at me complex we all have as children. Check it out.
I want to go down the slide, but I want you to look at me do it.
I can't enjoy myself unless you look at me do it. It reminds me of like little monks. Children being like little monks, teaching us everything about life. It's like, who are the reality figures here, you know?
I want to go down the slide, but I want you to look at me do it.